Hello and welcome to Heart Event. I'm Kay and I'm here as usual with Josh. We've had kind of a busy week. How are you feeling?
Well, I'm feeling a little bit late, but I'm feeling good. How are you feeling today?
Yeah, this one was a crunch time type episode. I feel good though. It's 9:30 and I have a coffee, which is always when I'm at my happiest. I love when I get an opportunity to have night caffeine, so I'm personally fine with this. So last time we took a look at games that we're looking forward to the release of, but what about all those games that come out and we just never get around to? Today we're going to be taking a look at our backlogs, and spoiler alert, this is going to be another one of those episodes where my list is way bigger than Josh's, so I'm going to let him kick off the conversation. So take it away, Josh.
Recently, I decided that I was going to play the first Dark Souls game, and I came to that conclusion because I'm just a big FromSoft fan, and I figured that it was probably for the best if I just played through all of them. I wanted to play 3, but I was like, I have to do the trilogy justice. I have to start from the beginning and see, like, what the genesis for all of this was, how we got to, like, Elden Ring, and where it all started. So, like I said, recently played the first Dark Souls, and now, in my backlog, I have both the second and the third games to play, which I'm very excited for. I'm very excited to get into that. If you're not aware of what the Dark Souls series is, and it's basically like become its own genre, having the Soulsborne games, it is an action game with like RPG elements. You have builds, be it like strength with melee fighting or like dexterity, which is also melee, but you can do magic. There's different types of magic in the games as well, and they are just grueling to play for the most part. It is not something that you would take up like casually and then be like, oh yeah, this is what I'm gonna do to relax. I mean, I feel that way. Like you've played a little bit of Elden Ring. Did you feel relaxed doing that?
No. I swore more than I would say I've sworn since.
The most, like, ever?
It was a lot. That was like, I had refrained from swearing in my streams at all until I streamed Elden Ring, and it all went out the window, and I could tell very quickly, like 10 minutes in, I was like, I guess this is no longer a swear-free stream space.
Yeah, I went from PG to PG-13.
Real quick.
Very quick.
No, I did not find it relaxing at all, but I can understand how if you were to get better at it, like the environment is very... Well, it's a little creepy, but if you like that kind of like dark and I would say gothic.
Yeah, gothic fantasy sort of vibe, yeah.
If you like that vibe, I can definitely see how the atmosphere of it is or can be comforting.
Yeah, I know that a lot of people feel that way about like the Soulsborne games in general. I think that Dark Souls is probably a little more gothic and a little more like medieval looking, but there's still like creatures and monsters and stuff. I myself am a big sword fan, and by that I mean swords that are big. I'm a big fan of those.
As opposed to
just
like a big fan of swords.
Which is also, you know, true. But,
true and valid, but that's
yes,
not specifically what you meant
when
here.
we're talking about Dark Souls, Elden Ring, all that stuff, give me a big sword, and I'm good.
So, do you think that Dark Souls is more or less punishing than Elden Ring, specifically?
The first one was definitely worse. I mean, I've heard before I played it that the runbacks are horrible, and runbacks, for anybody who doesn't know, is from the last save point or checkpoint to the boss fight that you're going to have to do 15 times maybe. Yeah, the last one that really screwed me up was actually the DLC for Dark Souls 1. That had a run back in there that I just wanted to stop. And I did a couple times. I did. But yeah, we're talking about backlogs, so Dark Souls 2, definitely excited about that. I know that they made it a little bit more forgiving with some of the runbacks, but I've also heard some people say that this is their least favorite out of the series. So I'm excited to see how that is. And Dark Souls 3, I've heard multiple times, is like a masterpiece. So,
story-wise, does it make more sense if you play 1, 2, and 3, or are they disconnected enough and you don't have to do that, but you just wanted to?
So it was spoiled for me, and it for me. I'm gonna give you a little spoiler warning, so cover your ears.
Skip ahead 15 seconds.
Yeah. Probably more than that because I could be a little long-winded. The first game you go through, the true ending for the game, you become the new Lord of Cinder or whatever the title is. It's something very similar to that. The last boss in the third one is actually your character from the first game that you fight again. And so it's like really poetic how it's just two nameless soldiers, knights, whatever you would like to call them, fighting it out in like a barren wasteland. And that's all that the series like comes to, I guess. So it is interesting. If you play the first one and you follow along with the story, you can sort of see by the end anyway. I'm not sure about the second one. I'm sure it ties in. But you can see that the game has like a lineage and you can follow that. And so that's why I was like, I have to play the entire trilogy.
So how do you know, like, if you can customize your character, how do you know when you get to the end of the third game that it's you? Like, is it the name, or, like, do you get dialogue that tips you off to it and you just kind of, like, look like a creature or something? Like, how do you know?
It's the name for the boss when it pops up is, like, directly related to, like, the Lord of Cinder or something, like, akin to that.
Okay. Interesting. I'm interested to see how you feel about, like, the ranking of them once you make your way through them all. I feel like you beat Dark Souls even with your breaks in between in kind of like good time. Like you made good time with that one.
I think that the PlayStation said I spent like 40 hours playing it. I could actually check that. But I think it was around 40 for it. And that was with the DLC.
It's not bad.
No, it's not bad at all. What do you have on your backlog?
Okay, so for my first chunk, I'm grouping them all together because I got all three of these in the whale and dolphin conservation bundle that I bought a couple weeks ago or last week or whatever. And they all kind of go hand in hand, especially the first two, Mudbourne and Apico, which are nature management sims about discovering and breeding frogs and then bees, respectively. So they're super cute. They're both by the same developer. And I had actually been wanting to play Mudbourne. I didn't know that Apico existed, but I had heard of Mudbourne already. It's a super cute pixel art style. And I spoke a little bit last episode about how I was excited for Wish Upon a Llama because of the animal breeding aspect of it. So I just think that these games will be really cute and fun. And I'd like to get into them a little bit, check them off my list. I'm excited that I got them for a good price in the bundle, so excited about those. And then with them in the same bundle, it came with a few games, but I got Lottle Knot, which I'm super looking forward to. That's another one that I had on my list to play for so long, but just never got around to actually purchasing and playing. It says, play as an interstellar custodian sent to clean up a polluted ocean planet, pick up trash, explore the vibrant waters, and take care of axolotl-like alien creatures. So, adorable ocean cleanup game. I love the ocean. I love games that let you go underwater. I like ocean cleanup mechanics like they have in Coral Island. And I had just heard a lot of really good things about Lottle Knot. It has very positive and overwhelmingly positive reviews. So, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm excited that I have all of these in my library to check out now.
Speaking of Mudbourne, I have to play the Bloodborne DLC, actually. I beat that game, I feel like it was over a year ago at this point, and I was like, oh, I'll do the DLC. However, I have not done the DLC yet, and I've heard very good things about it. Like, it's probably like one of the best parts of the entire game, so it's definitely on my list. The Bloodborne DLC, I've just heard that it has a ton of really good boss fights. I think there might be some more weapons in it. The vibe for Bloodborne is just so good, just so creepy and gross and Victorian too. We used Gothic for the last FromSoft games we were talking about, but it really takes that to a new level. Honestly, I would play it again before I play the DLC, but I have a lot of games to play.
So Bloodborne is another FromSoft game.
Oh yeah, I'm basically looking like a FromSoft fanboy at the moment.
Well, nothing wrong with that.
No, they make a good game every single time.
Yeah.
I haven't played a bad one. So.
You're talking to me. I'm still a Nintendo apologist / fangirl. So
Well, it's the same thing. Almost every Nintendo like major title that comes out is like guaranteed to give you like X amount of fun. Like if you buy a Nintendo game, you're like, oh, I'm in for like 30 to 40 hours of fun.
yeah, and Bloodborne is another Souls-like. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, Bloodborne is what actually gives the Soulsborne. I'm doing air quotes genre. It's like half of its namesake. I think I could be completely wrong, and I'm just like guessing.
No, I actually do remember that because I listened to the Fake Gamer Girls episode about Bloodborne and related games, and I think that they were saying something like that. Love Fake Gamer Girls in this house.
That's true. We do, yeah.
Next on my list, keeping on theme with the ocean cleanup games, I touched on it when I was talking about the bundle that I had gotten, but Coral Island, I obviously have played a little bit of it since I mentioned the ocean cleanup mechanics, and I just feel like I never, pun not intended, dove into it as much as I wanted to. I was really excited to get it, and I first got it on the PS5, but then I got my laptop, and I had this idea that I would get it on my laptop and start playing it on there instead. And then I think just the fact that I suddenly had the whole Steam library at my disposal just kind of guaranteed that I kept getting distracted and never made my way back to Coral Island. But there's a lot there. And I know that it has a good story and fun dating mechanic, and people really love it in terms of being a life and farming sim. So I really want to sink a lot of time into it and just have not gotten around to it yet. So yeah, we all know I'm a farming sim, life sim, dating sim lover, and it's got all those elements in there. And I was really hoping that it would be one of those games that I sink like 100 hours into, and it just never happened. So I will get to it eventually.
Again, another game in the sort of Soulsborne genre, because it is a Souls-like, as they say. Lies of P. I actually got that for free on the PlayStation Plus
So crazy.
catalog. Like they give away monthly games, and Lies of P was one of them. And I was like, "Oh, that's fantastic!" I wanted to play it. I had seen other people play it that have played like Soulsborne games before, and I was like, "Oh, that must be fun." And I've heard really good things. Spoiler alert: I had no idea that the P was Pinocchio, playing as a puppet the whole time, and then they were using his name Pinocchio, and I was like, I'm the puppet? But he's so handsome.
I remember when you booted that up and I was like, what the hell? Because I had obviously heard of Lies of P, but only in terms of like I had heard the name of the game before. I'd never done any research outside of that. And you booted it up and I was like, dude. It was so funny. Also, you cannot escape the grasp. Well, I guess Pinocchio isn't actually like a Disney character, but they do have like a Disney movie about him. But I think he lives outside of that.
With Geppetto and Monstro, the big whale.
Yeah, but I'm like, you booted that up and I was like, between your love of Kingdom Hearts and now this, I'm like, why do you always get caught up in these like Disney character games?
I don't know. I really don't know.
When you started playing Lies of P, though, I thought that it looked really cool. I wanted to see you play it, but then we never got around. I mean, this is part of the reason it's on your backlog. We never got around to just like having gaming sessions where I was like sitting there to watch you play it. But
yeah, you had told me that you wanted to like watch, and so I was saving it until, you know, we had an opportunity for you to like sort of just be in the room while I was playing it in, and time got away. The game looks fantastic. I played like probably an hour, maybe two on it. Really good mechanics. I'm just excited to sink my teeth into it.
yeah, we gotta get around to that. Next up for me, I have Cozy Caravan. Grab your backpack and climb on in. It's time to hit the road. Head out on a gentle journey in your reliable old caravan, crafting hearty meals, running market stalls, and sharing goodies with local townsfolk. Spread kindness, share, and help prepare for the annual Whiz Bang Fair. So this one's described in the tags as a cozy, exploration, cute, crafting, open world game. I had heard so much about it when it was in early access, and I did not have access to Steam at that time. So when I got my laptop and they came out with it, I was super excited. I picked it up day one, on the release sale, and I was super excited about it. But that's another one where just things got in the way, and other things that were like a little shorter and I thought that I could finish and they would be a little less open-ended came up. So I was playing those instead. And I've never made my way back to Cozy Caravan, but it was one that I was really excited about, and I'm kind of bummed that I haven't gotten around to it yet. So I really, really need to carve out some time for this. It's really cute. You play as a cute critter. You can choose the critter of your choice. I'm obsessed with the characters, Bubba, the frog, and Rigby, the bee, that pulls around your caravan. And similarly to Coral Island, I think that this is one that if I actually put the time into getting used to the mechanics and getting into the story a little bit, I would end up playing a ton of hours of it. So just hoping to get there soon.
All right, next up for me, I actually have a few Hollow Knight, Breath of the Wild, and Tears of the Kingdom. I am literally at the last part of all three of those games. And I need to just beat the bosses and, be done with the game. But stopped playing Hollow Knight, stopped playing Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. I know what I have to do. I just have to do it. And it's proving to be less appealing than doing something completely new for some reason.
You specifically have this problem with games that you play on the Switch, too.
That's true. Well, I mean, for me, you remember I was having that problem with Hollow Knight where my Joy-Con was drifting and the screen kept going down. Yep. So that's why I stopped playing that. But it got fixed. However, the other one started doing it too. So that's my excuse for that. But for Zelda, I have no excuse for either of those.
Well, if you want to finish Hollow Knight, I have extra Switch 1 Joy-Cons. You can just pop on the pink ones or whatever that I got with Princess Peach.
Well, I feel like I'm going to have to do that now.
That's good. Then you could decide if you wanted to play Silk Song and stuff. I would have offered that sooner. I just totally forgot that was why you stopped playing Hollow Knight.
Yeah, it was a hard enough game and I didn't feel like making it even harder for myself, and I didn't even think to ask, so thank you. Yeah,
the pink ones specifically I've used not that long, because my Animal Crossing themed ones I've used for hundreds of hours because they were the OG ones I've had on there. But yeah, I only swapped out the pink ones when I was in a specific mood, so I'd say they probably got 50 hours of playtime max, so there should be no drift on those bad boys. Alright, so that's the end of Josh's list. So now it'll be another one of those deals where I am listing off the games I have written down. I'll bounce off what Josh was just saying and start with one that I've played through most of and just need to finish the main story, which is Ooblets. I love Ooblets. I've played a lot of it, but I think that I have one more area to unlock and I need to finish the stories in a few of the areas. And it's just one of those games that I play a lot of at one time and then fall off and then come back to it when I'm in the mood again. But Ooblets has a really special place in my heart. And I feel like part of the reason that I don't just grind through to the end is because I kind of don't want it to be over. Granted, once the main story is over, I could continue creature collecting and getting all the gleamies and all of that. But the closer I get to that finish line, the more I'm no, don't let it end. I just have so much fun playing that game, and I will finish it one day, but that's on the backlog, sort of, but not one that I am dying to cross off of it, because I kind of like always being in the middle of playing Ooblets.
Do you have a favorite Ooblet before we move on?
I do, actually. I like Tud a lot.
Describe Tud.
So I said Tud.
Describe Tud.
Well, I'll show you a picture, but I will still describe Tud for the listeners. So Tud, the baseline, not the gleamy version or anything, is a bluish green frog-ish, alien-ish looking thing, but it's standing upright on two legs. And it's just really cute. It has little antennas and the eyes are kind of goofy and looking two different directions. And I believe he was my starter Ooblet. When you start out, you get to choose your clubhouse, and depending on which clubhouse you pick, you get a different starter Ooblet. And I think that I specifically chose my clubhouse so that I would get Tud as my starter, because I just thought they were so cute. So that's that.
I like Tud. Tud's a cute one. What else do you have on here?
Staying on the theme of creature collectors, I need to play more Moonstone Island. There is another theme here happening, which is big games that you can sink a lot of time into that I got set on playing when I was in a place in my gaming journey where I was playing one game at a time and choosing like a farming sim to sink my teeth into and then only play that for like a couple months until I had hit like 100 or a couple hundred hours and then felt accomplished enough to move on to the next one. But the way I go about gaming has changed a little bit, where I play a lot more indies, a lot of shorter games, and it used to be that I basically exclusively played games with farming sim elements, and that's just not true anymore. So I think it can be a little harder to get into games like that when it's not the only game you're playing and you're not sinking a bunch of hours at a time into it, because farming sims specifically with the day and night cycle and the to-do lists that you can rack up in those games really lend themselves to that like just one more day thought pattern. And if you have smaller games on your backlog that you're like, okay, well, I did want to get around to playing and finishing that, then it's like I don't necessarily want to get sucked into a game that I know I might accidentally spend 100 hours on and then never get around to playing the smaller one when I know that I could pick that one up first and just cross it off my list. So I had picked up Moonstone Island, and it was a little more complicated than other creature collectors or farming sims that I had played. So I just felt like I didn't have the time and mental energy to fully get into it the way I needed to. But what I had played of it was so fun. And I think about it like all the time, where I'm like, I really need to get back to Moonstone Island. And also because I wanted to date the Magic Man, and I was kind of starting to get there, and then I fell off, so I need to go back and get my man.
Perhaps have a heart event with the Magic Man.
You know it. Again, I'm going to continue going on the creature collection route. Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green just came to the Switch recently, and everybody has been raving about those. They were very excited that they came to the Switch, and I just wrapped up the first Pokemon game that I've ever played front to back, which was Explorers of Sky, and I had so much fun with that game, and I really like the art style of Fire Red and Leaf Green, and if it's not obvious by now, if you've listened to all the episodes of the podcast, I am a big art style person where I'll be willing to branch out and try almost any game if I think that the art style is cute enough and it's something that I want to immerse myself into. So I'm coming off a Mystery Dungeon. I'm looking for a new game in the Pokemon series to play. Everybody was so excited that Fire Red and Leaf Green came to the Switch, and I was getting a little bit of FOMO, so I kind of want to check those out.
I played those originally when they came out. Fire Red, Charizard, in case you were wondering.
Yeah, that tracks for you. It's funny because I wanted Leaf Green, but yeah.
Right. So anyway, those games are perfect, in my opinion. They are like remakes of the original like Pokemon games, and they did such a good job on it. The updated art style is so beautiful and cute and everything like that, and you should 100% play that. Move it up the list. Move it up the queue.
That's good to hear. Like, it's you confirming, because you obviously listen to me talk about games all the time, and you heard what I liked so much about Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Sky, so hearing you say to me, like, yes, you absolutely need to move that up the list, I'm like, see, I knew, like, something about it. I could tell that I would like that one, so I feel reaffirmed.
Yeah, absolutely. The only games that I think were better than that, and I always say this, would be like the Heart Gold, like Soul Silver remakes of Gold and Silver, which again, perfect Pokemon games. I think those are the best Pokemon games. Some people would probably say like Ruby and Sapphire definitely go up on near the top of the list, but no, Gold and Silver all the way.
Something that is really cool about getting into the Pokemon games lately, too, is that it makes me so much more invested in all the little guys that are living on my Pokopia Island.
Right now, would you say you have a favorite Pokemon? You can give me 3 if you want.
So, unfortunately, my favorite Pokemon, Shinx, is not in Pokopia, as far as I know. So that's a bummer. I love Slowpoke.
Lovable idiot.
Yeah, he's my original favorite because my first ever Pokemon game, which was Let's Go Eevee, I saw him like an hour in and I was like, who is this? I love you. So I do have Slowpoke on my island in Pokopia, and Slowpoke does live with me in my house. Third one is tough. I'd probably say Bulbasaur as of right now. I feel like that's generic, but I just really like, I love plants. And in Pokopia, the thing that Bulbasaur helps you out with is you ask them to follow you, and any crop that you just planted, Bulbasaur will make it grow right then and there. And I think that that's so cute, and also Bulbasaur is just adorable, so.
Yeah, you have the pop socket of Bulbasaur. He's asleep on the back of your phone every day.
And speaking of Pokopia, that actually brings me to one of the games on my backlog, which is Sumiko Gurashi Island. And if you don't know Sumiko Gurashi, it's these really cute little characters that are kind of like a Sanrio competitor. But instead of being animals, they're just kind of like little blobby guys, like some of the Tamagotchi characters, I guess, is the best thing that I can compare them to. But I love those characters, and I actually have for a while, and then they came out with Sumiko Island, and I was excited about it, but actually just never got around to buying it. And by the time I was thinking of finally picking it up, Pokopia was just a couple months out, and I kind of thought, okay, let me wait, because it's basically the same gameplay where you are setting up structures and habitats, and then the Sumiko characters are attracted to those different habitats, and then they come live on your island and ask you to make stuff for them. And I thought, okay, if I get Pokopia, I'm probably only going to need one game like that, so let's hold off and see what happens. But it actually had the opposite effect, where Pokopia was so fun that it actually made me want Sumiko Island more, because I really like the gameplay of Pokopia, but it can be a little overwhelming, and I feel like I have to think a little bit with Pokopia, where I can't always multitask, like if I'm trying to pay attention to the show I'm watching while I'm playing or whatever. So sometimes I'm kind of stuck, like, oh, I want the gameplay of Pokopia, but I can't really focus on what I'm supposed to be doing for the quests right now. And I think that Sumiko Island would be the perfect solution to that, where it has that same gameplay, but it's much, much less intense than Pokopia. And I think it has a much simpler playstyle and game loop. So if you haven't seen it, you should at least look it up to see the characters. I think they're really cute. And also, it just has more of a pastel vibe to it, and Pokopia is kind of bright. So I think I like that about it as well. I do love some pastel colors. So that's that one.
I do recall you showing me the trailer for that, and it's a very cute game.
Another game that came out recently was Tomodachi Life Living the Dream, and I've been completely loving that game. But I had a similar experience with this next one on my list, where I wanted it, but I was holding out for Tomodachi Life coming out, and then it again in turn made me want this game more, and that is Miitopia. For those of you who don't know, Miitopia is an RPG where you make Miis and apparently try to defeat some sort of main boss, and I've heard really great things about it. I guess it was on the 3DS, but I actually didn't know that. I was only aware of it being on the Switch, and so many people actually really like that game and say they had so much fun with it. And I was putting it off because I thought, like, okay, Tomodachi Life is going to come out and I'm going to be too busy seeing what my Miis are getting up to on there, so who needs Miitopia? But I think the fact that it is story-driven and has those RPG elements sounds really fun and cute, and I've just heard so many good things about it that once I burn out of Tomodachi Life a little bit, I want to circle back and finally play Miitopia. Just to cross it off my backlog, and also because since so many people talk about it, like, I kind of want to be in on the action. Like, I want to know what's going on when people are talking about it, and I want to be able to say I played and contribute to the conversation too. I want to experience this for myself. So another RPG that's on my list, Bravely Default Flying Fairy. This is the HD remaster. I got it on Switch. This is another one that was on the Nintendo DS, and actually when I went to PAX East last year, I saw the Nintendo DS version at one of the retro game booths, and the fairy on the front really caught my eye, and I thought she was so cute. I wanted to know what it was, and I started it a little bit on stream a little while ago, and I would really like to get back into it. Description for this one is: relive the tale of the Warriors of Light. Enjoy strategic battles in over 20 different jobs, plus modern gameplay enhancements and all new minigames. The story of light and shadow that never fades is reborn. It's a fantasy, party-based JRPG. It's been really fun so far. It's by Square Enix, And the story description says, without warning, the great chasm opened a hole in the world. Tiz is the sole survivor of a village swallowed whole by the chasm. In the depths of his despair, he encounters a young Vestal named Agnes. Together, they set off on a journey with the goal of closing the chasm and freeing the crystals swallowed by darkness. They set off entirely unaware of the significance of that goal. So yeah, since I started playing it just a couple months ago, and there have been so many big releases like the Animal Crossing 3.0 update, the Pokopia release, Tamagotchi Life coming out, I just never circled back to it, but I was having a lot of fun with it, and I am starting to really like RPGs. So I think that once I'm right in the middle of the story, I'm going to be really, really invested.
Honestly, that is usually what happens in most of the RPGs that I've played. Like every Final Fantasy game is like, oh yeah, the combat's like kind of fun. It's like turn-based, which is pretty much, you know what you're getting with a turn-based game. However, the story is like, oh my god, I need to stay up until 4 a.m. playing this. I have to find out what happens.
Yes, I feel like that's what's going to happen. This is another example, too, of like some sort of art pulling me into something that I normally wouldn't play, because I don't think if the cover was not the fairy from the story, I don't think I even would have noticed this game existed or cared, to be honest. So it's really funny that my brain works like that.
No, probably not. And then, hey, look at, you judged a book by its cover and it's working.
It works every time for me, honestly. There's actually another Square Enix game on my backlog. It is the Final Fantasy VII Remake. And I have no reasoning behind why I want to play it so badly. It is not a game that I would usually play, I would say, but I saw you play it in bits and pieces. I didn't see it the whole way through every time you played, but it looked so good. And obviously everybody loves Final Fantasy, and I know that, but it's just not a franchise that I was looking to get into at all, and I just couldn't help myself. When you were playing, I would always put down what I was like reading or looking at or playing, and I would just watch you do things, and I would watch the cutscenes, and it was so good, and I want to experience it for myself. And I think now that I've started trying out different genres and trying out RPGs, I think that I'm almost there where I can probably understand the gameplay a little more. And I think that when I originally saw you play it, because this was a while ago now, I was like, oh man, I wish I played games like that so that I could experience that. And now I'm like, you know what? I think I could. So I want to get there.
1000%. I think that you should get into this. Like, we already have them on the PlayStation. You're more than welcome to play it. And that means you can play Remake and also Rebirth, which is the next one in the series. So you can count that as 2 games in your backlog.
That's good, because I actually needed to add another one. My list wasn't long enough. No, but I do appreciate that. And I think, like, again, the characters being cute definitely helps. Like, I love Tifa and Aerith and their outfits. And I don't know, I just want to be in there. Even though, like, the world's a little dystopian, I think, I want to be in there experiencing it. And I remember that when you were playing, I was so invested that if I, like, went to work and came back and you had played through some, I was like, oh, man, like, what did I miss? And I also remember that when you were playing, I didn't really understand what you were doing in terms of, like, the combat and stuff. But now when I think back, since I have branched out a little bit, I'm like, oh, no, now I understand what he was doing. So I think I wasn't ready yet. Now I am. So it is on the backlog to play.
No, I think that you're really going to enjoy that. The combat in those games is, in my opinion, fantastic. Shout out to Final Fantasy 15 and Kingdom Hearts for really pushing Square to make a fantastic action combat based like RPG the way that they have. I really think that those games like set the standard for how like Final Fantasy Remake eventually blossomed into what it is.
So this is another remake, and I tend to think of it hand in hand with Final Fantasy VII because the main character and the way she dresses like kind of reminds me of Tifa a little bit. Only a little, but it's there. The thread is there, and so I can't think about one without thinking about the other. And I've always wanted to play a Fatal Frame game, and they just came out recently with Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly Remake, and it looks so good. And I had just decided when I saw the trailer for it coming to Nintendo Switch, it was in a Nintendo Direct, and Fatal Frame had always been like in the back of my mind to play eventually one of the games, and I was just kind of gonna pick one. And then when I saw the trailer for it, I was like, okay, this is coming out soon as a remake and it looks great, so this is gonna be the one that I try. So hoping to get around to this one sooner rather than later. It's the kind of horror game that I do like, because I do gravitate toward horror games, but only certain types. So I think that would be fun. And it does have a demo on Steam too, so I could always try it out and kind of switch paths a little bit if it's not what I thought that it would be, but I think I am going to like it. So I feel like we're taking a little bit of a turn in genre here.
What do you got?
I have a couple more farming and life sim type games that I want to get to. First one I'll mention is Echoes of Plum Grove. Description for that one is: a new life awaits in Honeywood. Build a thriving community that will last generations in this cozy farm sim. Farm, socialize, make friends, cook, craft, forage, and uncover the secrets of the island. If someone doesn't want to be friends, there are always other means. So another one I liked because of the art style. It's kind of like pop-up book adjacent. The characters are really flat in 2D, and like when they turn around, they just like stay flat, like that kind of vibe. Hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about, but it's really cute. And then it's interesting because there are like generations, and when you die, you keep playing as like one of your kids if you have them, and ships come and go from the town, but when new ships come in, they can bring diseases along with them, and you kind of have to like manage the townsfolk, and if they're sick, like get them medicine and make sure they're taking care of their hygiene so they're less likely to get sick. And it's like a lot more of those town management mechanics than a usual farming sim, so I was really excited about that one. And then I picked it up and just never played it. I tried a couple times to pick it up for like an hour at a time, and I think I was like sick or just not in the mood to be playing that kind of game or something, so I never made it past the tutorial, and I just kept restarting every time. But I know that when I am in the mood to play this game, I'm gonna love it, so I just need to find a time, assess how I'm feeling, and jump in when the time is right. Maybe this fall. I don't know why, if this was the time of year I heard about it or something, but this game screams fall to me. So, I don't know, maybe I'll just put it on the back burner and try to revisit it this fall, but I definitely do want to get around to it eventually. Next one is Halcyon Days at Taoyuan. Welcome to Taoyuan Village to heal your loneliness. Here, you can lead a carefree, self-sufficient life. Farm, tame animals, raise livestock, fish, and build a prosperous homestead. Or immerse in village life, meet kindred spirits, find love, and influence their destinies with your choices. This one looks really cute. It has a really muted color palette. It's super pretty. It is a Chinese-inspired farming sim, so a lot of the aesthetics of it are based off of China, and it's really beautiful. I really like the pixel art style, and it's a little bit combat-focused as well, so just another one of those farming sims that brings something unique to the table, and I really like the way it looks, so this one's kind of near the top of my list, and I am, similarly to a lot of the games that I've mentioned, just waiting for the perfect time to play it.
Beautiful game.
Well, from what we can see.
I mean, the pixel art is cute, as always with pixel art, but yeah, the colors are fantastic.
Yeah, I like the muted color palette. And the next one is Hello Kitty Island Adventure. I have played like around 25 hours of it, but I never even finished all the quests in the main area, and it's had a few DLCs since then, and I've kind of been like, I'll get to it when I get to it. But recently, they came out with a DLC called the City Town DLC, I think it's called, and it has Usahana in it, which is like one of my favorite Sanrio characters, so that really caught my attention and made me want to circle back to it. And weirdly, like Echoes of Plum Grove feels like a fall game to me, Hello Kitty Island Adventure feels like a summer game to me, so now that the weather's warming up, I think that I'll probably get around to it soon. That mixed with the fact that Usahana just made an appearance, I think that it's calling my name. And speaking of DLC, I feel like this is relevant. It's not a DLC, but it is an update to one of my favorite games of all time, Discounty. Discounty is a game where you manage your own discount supermarket, get caught up in small town drama, organize and plan your shop's layout, and strike lucrative trade deals as you expand your secretive aunt's business empire. Selling more frozen fries will surely heal this broken community, right? So I loved Discounty. My experience with it is that I started playing it and couldn't put it down. And I think that I played through all of it in less than a week. And when I could tell that I was getting toward the end, I was like, no, this is so sad, but I have to see it through. And when I did finally reach the end of the main story, I was like, I can't believe my time with Discounty was over. Like, I just loved this week. And I think back on it fondly all the time because I just had so much fun playing this game. And they have had one update since I finished it, but I had never gotten around to playing it to see what the update did. But I noticed that they started posting on their socials that they're about to come out with a new update. So I was thinking, before I get too far behind, that'll be the second update I haven't played, and I'm starting to really miss my time with Discounty, so I gotta hop back in. And I am super excited to do so. I cannot wait.
I loved seeing you play Discounty. I loved how excited you got about organizing your little store. And I think you really maxed out your floor plan there.
Yeah, you know what? Now that you say that, I think probably playing the Thrifty Business demo kind of put Discounty back in my head too, because I really do like organizing the stores. It's so fun.
That's true. The vibe on them is kind of the same. Like in the stores, doing all of that. I think Thrifty Business is definitely like a more vibrant game though.
Yeah, Discounty's pretty different from Thrifty Business, too. They're not really that similar except for the store part, but Discounty has like a whole separate life sim element going on, so definitely different, but I just think that setting up the shop in the Thrifty Business demo, now that I think about it, is kind of when I started picking up on, like, I really miss Discounty, so thank you to Thrifty Business for bringing me back to one of my favorite games, because I'm really excited to see what the updates were. Next one is another kind of management sim as well, but it is completely different because instead of managing a store, you are managing a skating rink. It is called Skating Rink Story. It's another cute pixel art game. It doesn't have any life sim elements or anything. You are literally just managing a skating rink and actually the social media for it as well, and it's just really cute. I heard about it a while ago. I finally picked up the demo recently, and I spent a whole day playing that demo, and I had so much fun, and I really liked the colors in it, and I really liked the gameplay. I really do like a management sim like that. Like, I've always liked the Zoo Tycoon games, and I really like when you kind of just get to brain off, focus on one thing, and just making sure everything goes smoothly with it and upgrading your stuff. And I never ended up downloading the actual game after playing the demo, so I kind of want to pick that one up just so that I have it in my library for brain off days in between playing all of these other things that I have to focus a little more on, like all the RPGs I mentioned and Final Fantasy, which has a bunch of cutscenes I'm going to have to pay attention to and stuff. I think it'll be a nice break in between those, so I definitely want to pick that up. Maybe next time it's on a sale or something, but it's a good one. Now, people may or may not know this about me, but I am a huge Moomin fan. I love the Moomins. I watch that cartoon like every day while I'm getting ready for work. I love Little My. Everything about that show is so calming and cute, and I know that the first Moomin game, Snufkin Melody of Moomin Valley, came out a while ago at this point, but I never picked it up, and now's the perfect time because they're about to come out with the second one called Moomin Troll Winter's Warmth, and it just looks so cute, but I don't think that I want to play it without playing the first one, even though they're not related like story-wise and you don't have to play one to play the other. I would just like to play them back to back, so I'm probably gonna wait and pick them both up at the same time and then play them together, and I think that it'll be a really cute experience. It'll be one of those Discounty-esque things where I probably play through both of them in a week and then look back on that week very fondly, and I think that it'll be really cute as somebody who loves that franchise. I'm excited to play a game with those characters in there.
I'm excited to see them. Give me more Little My.
I love Little My. Next up, we're closing in on the end of my list here, but this one is Gemporium. Mine, refine, and sell gemstones in Gemporium, a cute, fast-paced shop management game. Upgrade your tools, expand your store, and master the daily rhythm of digging, polishing, and turning a profit to pay off your debt one gem at a time. Everyone I've ever seen play Gemporium really likes it. It's another management game. I like that it has the mining in it. I like that it has the cute mole. And I've seen a little bit of this gameplay, and it just looks really cute, really relaxing, really fun. And then for the last couple, I wanted to mention the Frog Detective games. There are a few of them. I don't know if I want to play all of them or just pick one and stick to it. But basically, it's exactly what it sounds like. You're a frog detective, and it's like a mystery game. And from what I've gathered, they're pretty short games. So depending on how whichever one I play first goes, I may play the other ones too. But they just look quirky and fun and pretty cute. So I definitely want to see what those are about because I've heard good things about those. And then the last one I'll mention has been on my wish list for so long. Little Kitty Big City. You're a curious little kitty with a big personality on an adventure to find your way back home, explore the city, make new friends with stray animals, wear delightful hats, and leave more than a little chaos in your wake. After all, isn't that what cats do best? So yeah, it's a exploration game. Tags are cats, cute, wholesome, exploration, cozy sandbox. So all things that I like. And you get to be a cat. You get to do things like knock stuff over, cause chaos like they were saying, and find your way back home. I don't think it's a very long game from what I've heard, and it's just another one I've been putting off, but they recently had an update as well where you can like take pictures and I think change what your cat looks like, and I don't know, it just reminded me that it was on my radar before and I definitely want to get around to it. But other than that, I think that is my whole list. I mean, it's not my entire backlog, that's for sure. Like, I definitely have a lot more, like, wish-listed and downloaded, some games that I've gotten on sales and stuff like that I just downloaded into my library to get them while they were, like, $2 and then never made time for. But these are the, like, big ones that I think about on rotation and like, I'll be doing something completely unrelated to games and I'll be like, oh, I just remembered that I really want to get around to this. I need to remember that and look up that game later, and then I never do. So maybe I can revisit this episode sometimes and remind myself. But I'm hoping to revisit this episode at least at the end of the year and see, like, did I get around to any of these? Did I like them? Did I try some of them and fall off and decide they weren't for me? It'll be fun to look back on, but yeah.
Okay, so as we're wrapping up our backlog episode, I know what I'm going to do first, but I would like to ask you if there is a game that you know you're going to play first off of this list.
That's tough. I think that I am actually going to say Mudbourne and Apico, which I think might surprise you, but I think since they are more bite-sized than the rest of the list, I think that they're more approachable, and I already own them. I already have them downloaded, and I know what I'm getting myself into. And I'm excited. I was wanting to try them and I'm excited about the bundle that I got them in. So I think now that I've slowed down a little bit with games I have to play for podcasts and stuff like that, I'm excited to just go in and play around with those a little because I think they'll be cute. Which one are you doing first?
100% I'm going to dive back into the Dark Souls trilogy and play Dark Souls 2 with the DLC. I'll just get it all done with in one fell swoop.
Oh, I see. Well, that's about what I expected. Were you expecting me to say? Did you have one that you thought I was going to say?
Kind of thought you were going to say Pokemon, but that's okay.
I'm not really ready to start them just yet because there is endgame content in Mystery Dungeon that I have not finished yet and would really like to see through. So, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I did not know that you had Final Fantasy on your backlog. I think that's pretty cool of you.
Yeah, well, like I said, I didn't until recently because when I had seen you play it, I kind of just let it go because I thought there's no way I'm ever going to play something like that. But yeah, recently I'm changing my gaming habits, so I think it's more accessible to me now. All right, well, if we have nothing else, I'm going to wrap it up. As always, you can find us at Heart Event Podcast on Instagram and Blue Sky. Thank you guys for supporting us through our first month of episodes. This has been a super fun time. And after this one, we will see you in May for our second month of episodes, and I could not be more excited. So thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you at the next cutscene. Hey, buddy.